Good evening, everyone. I am Renee Williams, and we are here on a Friday night talking about addiction and what have addiction done to bring our life some meaning, and talk about how it pushed us to the limit and how we had to learn how to push back. God is so good. The God of my understanding always make a way for us out of no way. And tonight we're going to talk about drugs pushed us so hard we had to learn how to push back. And sometimes that wasn't easy. Sometimes it just wasn't easy to push back. The things that we was used to, things to let go of, how we think. So we're going to get in it. First, I want to give a shout out to Narcotics Anonymous program for bringing such relief to millions of people that was hurting and addicted to drugs of many choices. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be able to talk about that. Let me get my chair right. Be able to talk about that and to celebrate with you too about your clean time. Right now we're going to give a shout out to all the ones who celebrating clean time just for the day, 3 months, 60 days, 90 days, a year, 18 months, and multiples of years. So however many years you celebrate, I'm saying congratulations to you, because people think that it's easy to come off any kind of narcotics and drugs and then along with our behavior problem and attitude and stuff like that. But tonight we're going to share a little light to that, and that why it's so wonderful that we have made a change. Because anybody can change. If I could change, anybody can change. And ain't nobody better than nobody else. It's what you want to do and how you want to do it. So, and you have to follow the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous program in order to figure things out. 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous program is very rewarding. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. Very grateful. Shout out to the ones who parents, loved ones that have lost a loved one due to addiction, due to overdoses. Shout out to you all, because you found the way to keep moving and to keep living, and to understand that this addiction is very real. I come on here to tell you every Friday and Tuesday night that it's real. It ain't no joke about how the addiction works, and this disease of an addiction will take you out of here. Leave you where you can't do nothing, move in the right way. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And I thank God for you all being a part of the process, and me being a part of my own process. And for that, I'm grateful. I wanted to give a shout out to the group homes for the men's and the women's that's in inpatient, outpatient, who's living in transitional livings, who's is finding a way to get past all the guilt, shame, hurt, neglect. You got to learn how you want to survive. That's the point key. You have to learn the way, and the way is a 12-step program. Thank God for the counselors, the therapists, who do a wonderful job in telling us about this disease and describing how this disease works. And it is a way out. It is hope. I see my auntie Wanda Bayless is on here. Thank you, auntie. And it is a way out. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I always ask the God of my understanding, to give me something to talk about, and whatever he put on my heart, that's what I bring to my papers. So before we open, I wanted to give a shout out to the God and thank God that whatever comes out my mouth can help an individual. Hold me true to my words. let me say the right thing to encourage someone not to use drugs, alcohol, pills. You know, I'ma still keep on regardless of the negative, regardless of anything that comes my way, because I know if it worked for me, it'll work for y'all. My God, I thank you. Okay, tonight we're talking about how drugs, you know, pushed us so hard. We had to learn how to push back. And look, it wasn't easy for us to push back, because we didn't even know how we got started in the first place. It was a choice of will and wanted to try something different, and we found it was a relief of pain, relief of battling with our own self, you know, and it pushed us to that limit. It pushed us so hard till we just got more in depth with the disease of an addiction, you know, and we had to make some decisions, some big decisions to turn our will and our life over to a God of our understanding. And you had to be and have self-will to want to do that, to want to change. To stay the same, it's not going to work. I know I tried it and it doesn't work. So I had to make a 911 call to the God of my understanding. And the 911 call, it's an emergency, God, I need some help. You know, I can't make it without you. I need the 12-step program. I need the God of my understanding. It pushed us so hard to where we didn't even want to get back up. We wanted to stay in that rut. We wanted to stay down. We didn't want to build ourselves up. But tonight I want to talk about building yourself up. Building yourself up means that you got to deal with self. You got to understand the disease of an addiction. You got to understand that this disease of an addiction, it has no purpose only to destroy anybody that it comes into company with, you know. And I was the one that, you know, I struggle with self. I struggle with all kind of things. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. I struggle with all kind of things within myself to understand that I had a problem. You know, it's easy for us not to look at that we got a problem. It's easy for us to deny the problem. You know, it's easy for us to blame somebody else for the problem. But when it comes to a point that you know you got a problem, where you got to admit your wrongs and your rights, and you got to decide whether you want to change or stay the same, in this disease of addiction, a lot of people lose out. And I wanted to speak about that tonight. A lot of people lose out. You know, we get on our, we push so hard with drugs that we pushed other people's away. Other people that prayed for us, other people that loved us, other people wanted us to change, you know. But because somebody want us to change and we don't change, it's not because we didn't want to, it's because we didn't know how to, you know. And I can't be no honest in that. It's because we didn't want to change. We were stuck on stupid. We were stuck on doing things our way. We were stuck on not turning things over. We were stuck on not admitting that we had an addiction. We were stuck on self-will, determination to do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, and that got us in trouble. So drugs pushed us so hard to where we had to learn how to push back. Well, how did you push back? Well, I didn't push back at first. What I did to continue to get high, what I did was destroy relationship with kids and put them in danger zones. We talked about that. A few of us ladies, we talked about how we have to remember, because we get clean, and we have to remember we burnt a lot of bridges along the way with our children. And, you know, we ain't going to stay stuck there. You ain't going to hold me in captivity once we admit that we don't have to pushed so hard to stay in drugs, and we found a way to get out. That was the whole answer. That was the key. And my key was, I had to stop blaming everybody else for my disease. I had to stop blaming everybody else for my mess up. I had to stop blaming everybody else for not having the courage at that time to get myself together. But guess what? I found an answer. And the answer was, this disease of an addiction would take you to many turning points of your life. It would take you from being happy to sad. It would take you from being miserable, disrespectful. It would take you to all kind of limits. And it pushed us so hard till we had to find a way to learn how to fight back. And that 911 call I don't know about nobody else, but I had to make a 911 call to God and tell God, I'm done. Help me. I need your help. I can't do this no more. I need to get humble. I need to find a solution. I need to find a way, because every time I said I was going to stop, I didn't stop. Every time I said I was going to stop doing the things that caused me much pain, I didn't stop. The disease of an addiction wouldn't allow me to stop because I didn't have no direction that I was going in to stop. I didn't have a hero in my life that knew about drugs and the ability to stop using. But, one thing I do know, that God found many people to come into our lives to help us to go into treatment, go into inpatient, and get our lives together and understand this is a disease. And long as we don't pick up and long as we don't use, we okay. And I didn't understand that then, but I understand it now, and I understand that we are better than that. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could do some restoring on us and do some work on us and allow us to open up and get free from drugs and alcohol. See, I talk about it because I know 15 and 16 and 19 and 20-year-olds that's not only supposed to be doing teenager things and supposed to be living, they good life, but they choose to use drugs. They choose to still get high. And that's a reminder where I was. It's a reminder how easy it came to learn how to use drugs, but it was hard how to let go of the drugs. And that's what I want to talk about. Drugs pushed us so hard to the limit that, a lot of us wanted to hurt ourselves. A lot of us didn't see hope. A lot of us didn't want to fight for our lives. A lot of us didn't want to stop using, until we found and was introduced to the 12-step program of the God of our understanding. And to the NA is all the drugs, and I had to learn that this wasn't going to be easy to come on here and talk about it. But look, when God gave me the confirmation, when He told me, Renee, you got yours. You learned how to deal with this disease. Don't forget about my peoples. And when God come to you in a way where a baby can understand, then you have to be willing to listen and learn that He has you on a mission to do some things to help other people. Now, I always tell people, if this ain't for you, you don't have to follow me. And if this don't relate to you, you don't have to listen. But I promise you, through the years of your living, your life, you're going to know somebody who did drugs. You're going to know somebody who died of an overdose. You're going to know somebody that didn't make it in this addiction. And I had to find a way to relate everything to everybody, because I didn't want to die using. You didn't want to die using. So we came into a place in our lives to find some hope, a destiny to want to do better, to destiny to want to live better, a destiny to want to think better. And I thank God for the 12-step program, because it opened me up, opened you up with open arms. You know, because it's a lot of us in the same situation but different stories. But we all was addicted to drugs. And for that, I know that I have a mission to get on here to talk about drugs is real, and it's hitting home, and it's hitting our friends, and it's hitting our loved ones, you know. And the very person that you wouldn't think that would ever be on drugs, that's the very person that will end up on drugs. The very person that you think they wouldn't even have the desire to use drugs is the very person that will get on drugs. Give me that. Give it here. And so I found ways to understand that I am worthy. I am very, 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 very worthy to understand this addiction. And I thank God that I found a way. I thank God that I came to a point in my life. I thank God I came to a point in my life to get it right. I thank God for that. I thank God that I thank God for me finding a new way to live. And when I tell you that, I mean that. Because I did find a new way to live. You know, and I had to find some instructions that will help me along the way. See, if you ain't got an open ear, if you ain't got an open mind, you ain't going to stay clean anyway. Just point blank. You know, people use excuses to go back. You don't need no excuses to go back. You have a free will of self-worth, understanding that you could use anytime you get ready. Can't nobody stop you. You know, but I wanted to stop. I needed to stop. You needed to stop. And you know, when things start messing up in your life and you can't get it together, and you keep going 5 steps back instead of 5 steps forward, then that's a problem. And I understand that the problem that I have has to do with me. The main person that I understand, I need to cut this fan on, everybody. The main thing that I understand is that I don't have to live like that. And once you make a choice to where you don't have to live like that, then you're going to do something different. And you're going to do something different because you want to do something different. You don't want to stay stuck. The drugs pushed us so hard to the limit to where we did the things that we didn't think that we would do. It pushed us to a limit to where we didn't care. We didn't care about nobody's feelings. We didn't care about how our kids thought about us, what we did to our kids, how we harmed our kids. You know, sometimes we ain't got to harm a kid physically. Most of the time we harm a kid mentally. And when you get that sometimes people, you know, hold you and hate you for being addicted. But if they understood what addiction does to a person, then they would kind of understand. So when I came in and I had to understand this disease of an addiction, you know, my kids didn't understand it. You know, my friends didn't understand it. All they knew that I was everything that they said I was. You know, and I wasn't okay with it. But somewhere down in my life, I accepted that. I accepted that I wouldn't get no better. I accepted that I was going to keep smoking and keep getting high and keep drinking. I accepted all that. But then one day, I had to make a 911 call. And a 911 is like for emergencies. 911 is like where you just in a dilemma. 911 call that I had to make when it came to pushing so hard, dealing with drugs. I had to make a 911 call in the middle of a night. And then people say, well, what is a 911? It's an emergency call. Because I was messed up. And I had to call on somebody that I knew had been carrying me through my using. Been carrying you through your using. So I came to a point to where I had to get honest with me. I had to get honest. You know, drugs had pushed me to think that, you know, I'm okay like I am. I can keep using drugs. I'm okay like I am. I can keep stealing. I'm okay like I am. I can keep lying. I'm okay like I am. I can keep hurting people. I'm okay like I am. I can keep hurting myself over and over again because I'm okay with that. And the disease of an addiction had me thinking like that. It had me thinking that I couldn't do no better. It had me thinking that I had to always settle for less. It had me thinking that I wasn't no good. It had me thinking that I wasn't worthy. It had me thinking that nobody loved me because I was that crackhead. I was that dope fiend. I was that alcoholic. You know, it had me thinking like that. And so I had to isolate and I had to hide and I had to, certain times I had to get high and certain times I had to go buy drugs or let it be delivered to me. And so when I just look back at my life and seen how chaotic I had gotten. Chaotic. Couldn't think right. Couldn't pay my bills right. Couldn't be a friend to a friend right. Couldn't stop manipulating. I had to keep doing the things I was doing to get my drug of choice, your drug of choice. You know, feeling like the black sheep of the family. So I had to understand all these feelings was natural because these are feelings I was feeling even when I was getting high. You know, and my thing was to eliminate the drugs. Admit that I have a problem. You know, some people never change because they're too scared to change. Some people never change because they don't know how to change. Some people stay the same because they didn't know nothing about no program like the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. 12 step. Shout out to the 12 step program. And I love the program because the program showed me love. It showed you love. Showed us that we don't have to use no matter what. And so when I made that 911 call in the middle of the night, it was a call that I'd never forget because I found something strange about what I was doing and I didn't like it no more. I didn't like it. I don't like nothing no more that's going to hold me in captivity. I don't like somebody that's going to steal my joy. I don't like the drugs. The drugs were stealing my joy. I didn't like that. I had became a person that always thought about the wreckage of my past. I always thought about the hurt. I always thought about how I hurt somebody, you know, and I had to get off my self-worth and thinking that it was all about me, but it wasn't all about me. You know, it was never all about me. But in that disease of an addiction and me running and racing for something that I know that wasn't good for me kept me in that atmosphere is that I don't want to win. I want to stay the same. That's that old thinking, you know, that old way of thinking. But then I found that I did want to change when I made the 911 call and I know that I had pushed so hard to do drugs. I had pushed so hard to stay in locked up in my mind. I was locked up in my mind because I didn't think I was gonna ever get clean. I thought I would die using. I tell y'all that all the time, and I meant that. I thought that. But you know, your thinking ain't clear when you're using. I hope you get that. Your thinking ain't clear when you're using. Your thinking ain't clear when you're hurting. Your thinking ain't clear when you self-hurting yourself. Your thinking is not clear. You know, and I had to fight. I had to fight I had to stop using, go back. Stop using, go back. Stop using. And then I just didn't care no more. I couldn't stop. I thought I just never would stop. I thought I would be in that life of living with so-called people that use just like me, that I can hang with because I'm just like them, and I can feel better knowing that I got some friends that's in my using that will use with me, and we find all kind of ways to make money, to get money and come back. So hey, my friend Linda, she's on here, thank you for coming on. I had to understand that drugs pushed us so hard to where we had to learn how to push back. And I had kids, and a lot of my friends had kids, and we all was getting high. And then something strange happened. When I made that 911 emergency call to God all alone with myself, by myself, and had that conversation with God, I know that God was going to help me. Y'all ain't got to ask me how I know, because the God of my understanding had been with me all my life. He had never left me. I detoured. I left him. I started picking up anything that'll cause me to be free from pain. And some of the pain I caused on my own, and some pain was brought up on me. But as a person that's using, we don't look at that. We don't look at that. We just look at all the hurt, or we look at who we can blame, or we look like, we look at that we don't want to forgive ourselves. We don't want to even look at ourselves. We don't want to endure all the things that we have done. I'm just speaking about me. I ain't speaking about nobody else. Now, if you didn't go through all that, well, then you must have went through something else. Because whatever you went through, hey, Cousin Pam, see you. You must be back from out of town. Good to see you, baby. So I had to learn how to push back. I had to learn how drugs push us to a place in our lives where it consumed us. When I tell you it consumed us and took us to a whole nother level. It took us to a level that we didn't even want to come down. We wanted to always be in that pain and misery. We didn't care what nobody said about us. All we wanted to do was use. All we wanted to do was hurt ourselves. All we wanted to do to keep lying to ourselves. But guess what? I made a 911 call late at night. And I was sincere. After I went back over my life, and I'm thinking that, Renee, if you don't get no better, if y'all don't get no better, we gonna die. We gonna die in this addiction and not even learn or find a new way to live, because we so used to killing ourselves, and that we gonna die in this addiction. But when the pain get great enough, and you stop pretending, come on, Renee. When you stop pretending, because that's all I did. I was a pretender. Everything good. I'm good. No, you can't hurt me. Okay, I know how you feel about me. I'm good. I'm still using. I'm good. I'm not finna stop. I'm good. You hurt me. I'm good. I know I hurt you. I'm good. And so we hide behind a shield. And the shield keep us captivated, telling us that we ain't got to change. We gifted. We gifted liars. We gifted storytellers. We gifted in hurting peoples. We gifted in lying to peoples. We gifted. So we use that to get more drugs. We use that to get more alcohol. We use that to get more heroin. We use that to get any kind of drug that we talking about. All drugs that you put in your inside of you is 90. And I understood. Now I understood when I had to make that emergency call that I didn't know that then, that I know now, that 90% was us, and only a little 10% was the drug. Man, that busts my bubbles. You mean 10% was only the drug, and the other 90% was us? Wow. If I only knew. But I wasn't in the shape to try to find out. All I wanted to do every day was use drugs or smoke something or drink something, so I can understand that I'm in a place in my life. I just accepted that. I just accepted all of it. See, fake peoples, you don't last long. Fake peoples that hides behind a shield and act like you ain't got no feelings and portray yourself to be Superwoman or Superman, you don't last long. Fake peoples that comes in and think that nobody else can see you. Nobody else knows what you doing behind closed doors. But that 90% of your attitude and behavior and your character defects, and you think is misunderstood, is very understood to a person that's clean. Very understood. Somebody said today, a friend of mine was getting ready to go back to leave. He said, Renee, he came in, he said, Renee, he been staying with me, he finna leave, he got him a place, thank you, God. Got him a place, he lives in Mississippi, and he was like, Renee, you know what? You just always try to make people feel important. You always try. The drugs that pushed me so hard, nobody was important. And he said to me today, sitting on my couch, I was sitting up reading. He said, you just make everybody around feel important. You make everybody feel like they worth something. You make everybody feel happy no matter what they going. Because see, I know what unhappy feel like. I know I needed somebody to push my button and make me feel important. Push my button. I didn't have it because I was too busy getting high. And he told me today, he said, you told me I was going to get the house. And then you encouraged me to come get it. See, when you lived your life pushing so hard for drugs, you have to live your life for pushing back to do the good that you once had lost. See, I lost that. I didn't understand why my kids would look crazy at me. I missed that. I lost that. I didn't care. The only thing that was important to me is that I get my fix or get my high. That was important to me. And so when when anybody's around me, my job is to make you feel better than you felt or make you feel better than me. That's my job. Because when we lived our life hurting ourselves over and over and over again, and we find the gift of a ruling awakening, when we get that gift, it does something to us to restore us to many things that's good. Many things that's good. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I hurt me. And when you hurt the gift that God gave you, and that's the gift of life, and you start mistreating people to get what you want, when you start hurting people to get what you want, that becomes a problem. So when he said that to me, I said, it ain't me. I just told him, I said, it ain't me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's the God in me. The God of my understanding told me, Renee, when I restore my peoples, when I restore y'all back to sanity and restore goodness in you, the light's supposed to be different. Things supposed to be different. The outcome is supposed to be different. So we don't have to live the way that the disease and the drugs told us to live. We had to make a choice to listen to somebody, to listen to the inner ear, to listen to the God of my understanding, or your understanding, as I might say. We have to get off that negativity stuff, but we didn't know how. I didn't know how. All I knew to do was use. All I knew to do was be fake. All I knew to do was to pretend. And most addicts that still using are good pretenders. And that's why I don't pretend with nobody. I'm boisterous. I'm still boisterous. I speak my mind, because when we were getting high, we didn't speak our mind. When we was getting high, we stayed in captivity, closed off, and got high. And we know how we was thinking. We know how we was feeling. We know how our family and our kids is looking at us. We knew that didn't nobody want to be around us. We knew that, but yet we kept getting high. So we pushed so hard to deal with the drugs and to take in the drugs. And when we found a new way to live, then we start pushing back at the drugs. Don't need you, don't want you. You did all that you gonna do to me. You ain't doing it no more. You ain't taking over my life no more. You ain't making me feel unworthy no more. You ain't making me feel unloved no more. You not stealing my joy no more. You're just not. And I had to get serious. And that's where that 911 call. When I told God, if you just help me help myself, restore me to just a little bit till I get in treatment, I promise you I'll never use again. That's what I did. That's what I'm on. That's what I continue. That's what you on. That's what you continue. And I know y'all continue because I see y'all at the meetings. I see you at the conventions. I see you on Facebook. I see you. See, it was a time in our life nobody saw us. But I see y'all. I see me. And I ain't trying to pretend no more. Everything is keeping it 100. Everything is straight up with me. I ain't trying to pretend to hide my feelings no more. I'm not trying to pretend that I like you. I'm not trying to pretend that it's okay for you to keep hurting me. I'm not going to pretend to accept less than I think I'm worth. I'm not going to pretend to let you walk over me and let you think that you better than me. That's one gift. That's one of multiple millions of gifts that I learned about coming into the 12-step program of Narcotics Anonymous, is that you don't have to pretend. You got some people that, think they know everything. You got some people just sitting back, looking, and trying to figure things out. And you got some people who come in and don't know absolutely nothing of what's going on. Where I was in, I understand in all three categories. I played that. I played coming in and think I knew everything. I think I was on, even in recovery. Even in recovery. I came in thinking I knew everything and I'm clean now. I'm feeling a little, got some clean time up under me, and God had to still humble me. He still had to work on me. He still had to let me know, Renee, you picking up some of your habit that you left. You got to come in and be real. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. You play with people, you're going to get played on. So I had to look at myself, and I promised God that if you just show me how to humble myself and to identify with the things that we need to identify with, that we don't have to use no matter what pain we in, no matter how much we hurt, no matter who hurt us, no matter who don't like us, no matter who don't see us. Sometimes our own kids don't like us. Sometimes our own kids don't want to fool with us. Sometimes when it's convenient for them. Sometimes our friends don't want to be around us. Sometimes our friends don't only want to be around us when it's convenient for them. See, I let go of all them kind of friends. I had to learn how to let go of needy people, because needy people was me. And when I was needy, I picked up on everything. It seemed like I picked up on everything every person that I thought that needed me. I was the savior. I was the helper. I was the fixer. I was the manager. I was the one that was going to help you get your life together, but yet mine wasn't. So when them drugs pushed us so hard, and I had to look at it, why did I allow the drug to push me that hard? Because I had no sense of who I was. I had no sense of who I needed to be. I hadn't found my purpose. I thought I found my purpose in drugs, but that wasn't the purpose. That was the plan that we choose to pick up. But the purpose was when you went into treatment and got your life together. Now you in the purpose. Now you understand the purpose. Now you understand that all you've been doing is faking, pretending, and lying. If y'all don't want to understand that, then I just put it all on me, because that's what I did. I faked and pretend in my using. I made myself feel that I was okay when I know I wasn't okay. And today I'm okay. I ain't got to pretend a lot. We might not like things that's going on in our home, or things that's going on with our family, or things that's going on sometimes even with our mind. When that mind want to come in and send you here and send you there, you have to come back down. You have to get back down to why you here. You have to get back down to know that you can't change nobody that want to be changed, because could nobody change me until I wanted to be changed. You have to want to get better. That's just like if I go to a meeting and there's 2 people, so what? I don't care. It's 2 peoples in the room. Let's make it happen. Let's free ourselves. Let's do what we need to do to have a good meeting. That was my purpose of coming out. So I have learned how to accept things that I cannot change. And the things that I can, then I'll work on it or try to change it or understand why. But I know I came a long ways, and I know that the drugs had pushed me so hard. I didn't even want to live. I didn't want to do nothing. All we wanted to do was use. All we wanted to do, and it got bad. It got real bad. For some of us, it got worse. I speak about me. It got worse. I was in a dilemma in my life, that I had made so many bad choices, that I had did so many bad things, that I had hurt so many peoples that was good peoples, that was honest peoples, and peoples that loved me. See, I remember that. And I remember when I came in, I had to find a way how to not forgive them, but how to forgive me. I had to work on me. I had to understand how the drugs had pushed me to a place in my life that I didn't think that I could make it out. The drugs had us to where we didn't think that we could change. Take him downstairs, and I'm not going to say it again. And wait till I get off of here now. And I had to learn how to understand that, tell Deanna when I get off, she going to hate when I get off. Watch your baby. I had to learn how to understand that, when I'm serious about something, I'm serious about something. And for the first time in my life, I'm serious about pleasing the God of my understanding. That's one. The second thing that I'm very serious about is my program, me staying clean, me staying focused. Drugs pushed me so hard till I needed to do better and see better. I wanted to be everything that I wanted to be before, but I got stuck on drugs. I got stuck on living. I got stuck on hurting so much that all I wanted to do was continue to hurt. And I don't want to hurt no more. It's okay. Long as I don't use. I can accept anything and everything long as I don't use. I can accept death. I can accept pain. I can accept hurt. I can accept deceivement. I can accept betrayal. I can accept all them things long as I don't use. But I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out along the way why I am trying to still figure out some things that I ain't got no control in. See, that's when you call yourself not pretending. Why am I in this position? Why am I feeling this way? See, that's that restore to sanity thing, to where now we can think on our own in a clear mind and understand and see things that other people think we can't see. You know, and I love the fact that God never took his hands off of none of us. I love the fact that he loved us so much that he put people around us that was going to help us along the way. We, you know, drugs pushed us so hard to where we didn't want to let nobody in. I didn't even want to let the God of my understanding in. I didn't want that. I didn't want to let him in. I didn't want God to look at me any kind of way because I was on drugs and sometimes I wasn't always there in mind with my kids, or I didn't show up, or I didn't do the parent thing right, you know. But one thing that I did do right was to show my loved ones that I could get better. One thing that I know I'm doing right, that I can show you I'm not stuck no more. I'm not going to never be stuck. No more. And I'm going to say what I feel. If I don't talk, if I don't say what I feel, then that's going to take me somewhere else. And I work so hard to say what I feel. I work so hard to be open. I work so hard to understand my worth, your worth. We work too hard to come in and go to a meeting and sit there and hear our stories. And the only difference was it was a different face, but it was the same story. To understand that all of us went through a captivity of drugs holding us hostage and not letting us become and do the things that we wanted to do before we got help. You know, that's why I love that God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. And the courage. I read this all day long. The courage to change the things that I can. And the wisdom, my God, to see the difference. And to know the difference. You know, see, I told somebody today, a few minutes ago, I have no complaints. I don't use. Y'all don't use. We got our legs and our arms. We got our right mind. We got a little income coming in every month to feed us and take care of us and to clothe us. To wake up in the morning and have a direction of where we're going, and to go to bed at night to have a direction on where we might go the next day. I have no complaints. I have no complaints. It ain't no complaints. If whoever don't understand that about me or you, then they will. In time they will. But I know for a fact I have no complaints. Got my health and strength. Got my own thoughts, and they good thoughts. I can love again freely without no expectation from you. See, your thinking become better than it was because now you have a clear mind. Nothing is clearing it up. So drugs pushed us so hard. All we wanted to do is not fit in. We wanted to be different. I wanted to get high. I wanted to hang with all the people that did not have nothing going for themselves. And what that said about me, Renee, you haven't found yourself yet. You haven't found truth yet. You haven't found. Drugs push you so hard to where, you know, you just thought that, you know, you weren't going to do better and nothing was going to change and everybody was going to look at you crazy. But everything that I thought that was going to happen for me was the opposite. When I went into treatment, my light began to shine. I began to feel good about myself. When I stopped using drugs, things started working in my favor. Things will work in your favor. When you let go of the very thing that discouraged you, that hurted you, that took from you, when you start letting go, then you can start seeing the process of you coming up. You feeling good. You know, you're doing things that you didn't normally do. You know, it's free will to love. It's free will to not use. You know, you just think different and act different. I love being a recovering addict. I love finding out how bad the drugs had pushed me to where I wanted to push back and tell the drugs no more. It's no more. I'm not, you can do what you want to do. You can drink, you can get high, you can do whatever you want to do, but it's no more for me. I did enough to last me a lifetime. I did enough for all the other million of people out there. I don't want to do it no more. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to the God of my understanding for not giving up on all of my people, for not taking his hands off of us. I am so glad that we didn't go back. I am so glad that if you went back, that you made it back, so you know you ain't got to go back no more. I am so glad of them little bitty miracles that we think we can't see, but they there. I am glad of that. I am glad of the change. Now, while you changing, let me put this in there. Hey, baby, I can't never. Hey, Johnson, good to see you, baby. I'm going to put this in there. Why you changing, why you become clean, or why you stop allowing your behaviors and your personality take over. You know, don't be surprised if some things going to come into your life that's going to still be painful. Like hearing bad news. To me, hearing bad news is good news because I depend on the God of my understanding. It's too big for me, so it's good news because God gonna take care of it. That's how I look at it. You know, how you're gonna feel lonely sometimes. You know, because you don't have that companion, or you don't have that closeness to a man or a woman. You know, but that's all, look, that's special. That's time you can spend with yourself. That's time that you can understand. So when God do send you that special person, and he got to be special in order to deal with you in your new way of thinking. Hear me? Got to be special. So when I look back and I think about how crucial we pushed ourselves with drugs, with any kind of addiction, how we gave it our best, how we depended on that addiction to take us to this or to take us to that. And so when we pushed back, drugs did us so bad to where we found a way to get out. We learned how to push back. And pushing back means, I get it. I get it. I get it, drug. I get it. I have a disease. I get it that you're too powerful for me. I get it that you will mess me up. I get it that you will hurt me. I get it that you will continue to let me hurt myself over again. I get it. I get it. I understand how you work. So when I push back, that's telling me that I got the answer that I know that's been in me since I've been clean. I ain't never got to use. Whatever pain I got to go through, or whatever you got to go through, or whoever you lose, whoever hurt you, whoever don't understand you. And guess what? A lot of them won't. A lot of people, y'all think I'm lying. Some people will hate to even see you get clean. Some of your own kinfolks will think you better than anybody because you clean. Some people liked you better when you was using. Why? You had no self-worth. You didn't care about self. You was a liar. You was a manipulator. You was a fake. I was all them things. You know, that's a lot of things to be up under the eyes of God, that he know that wasn't what he created. But I changed when I used. The drugs pushed me so bad to where I felt ugly all the time. I dressed up. I put on makeup and clothes. But how did I really feel in the inside? Knowing that I done spent my whole check, knowing that I done sold my body, knowing that I is out in the wee middle of the hours at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And how did I, when I go back, the drugs pushed me so hard to make me think that I ain't never got to stop using. I'm good. I can handle everything while I'm using. I ain't got to stop. Nobody will never know I'm using. But when you think nobody knows, you know. You can't hide from you. You can't hide from you. And that's one thing I learned about recovery. Fake people show up. Blind people show up. Inconsideration people show up. Ones think they're better than the other ones, they show up. But when you get humble, when you know that the drugs done pushed you so hard and so bad, and put you in a place in the era in your life that you didn't like who you became, you gonna know the difference when you push back. You gonna know the difference when you push back and stop using and get a clear mind. And then you start doing service work. You start being a service worker at a meeting, or you start helping in meetings, and you start dealing with your sponsor. You start having a reason to wake up in the morning. You have a reason to go to bed at night so you can see waking up in the morning. I'm forever grateful. One thing I can say truly about the recovery, the 12-step program, it's a program that's meant to help everybody. Every addict, everybody. Every addiction, everybody. And people don't believe that. If you do the 12-step program like I did, it helped me with many addictions. It helped me identify with all my behaviors. It had me to identify why I let the drugs push me so hard. Why we let the drugs push us so hard. When you deal with the 12-step program, it let us see that it is a new way to live. Start identifying with the things you did wrong and how you did wrong, and accept accountability. Accept you made some mistake. That's the start of knowing that the drugs ain't pushing you hard no more because you ain't got them in you no more. I don't care who use, it ain't gonna be me. I don't care who drink, it ain't gonna be me. I don't care what you do, it ain't gonna be me. I had my time, my so-called fun. I had my time of being not real. I'm real today. And all the people that I see in recovery is genuine love. It's, we all got some flaws we still need to work on. We didn't come perfect. We didn't get perfect. We all got a little flaws. But see, the best part of it is that we ain't using. And we push back to tell the drugs never no more. You got me. You kept me while you had me. And when I found a way to get out and escape, I did it. So therefore, I'm an overcomer. I understand that I can beat you. Long as I don't put it in me, long as I don't use, long as I don't take no drug, I can beat it. But that's the cure. That I can't use no more. And no matter what happens, I got to deal with it naturally. I got to deal with it naturally. If you got to cry, if you got to shout, got to yell, do what you need to do, just don't get high. My hind day's over with. God allowed all of us on this site, past this site, all over the world to get it together. Now it's up to you Can't feel sorry for nobody that don't want to go get it or don't go get it. You got to do the footwork to get it. If you think you're going to come in this program and that program going to do all the footwork and you don't have to play a part in that footwork and that you ain't got to do nothing to make your recovery the best thing in your life, then you won't make it. You just won't make it. And some very people that I love have died. They didn't make it. You know, and I thank God that I understand that recovery is a thing that you got to want to do. You got to want to do it. You got to want to change. You got to want to live. You got to want to understand. You got to want to have an open mind and a willingness to change. You got to understand that you got to do some footwork. You got to understand that you got to go and talk with your sponsor. And that's why everything is in play. When I look at it and think about me and God, you got everything in play. When something is too big for us to carry and we want to talk about, that's where your sponsor come in. I love my sponsor. I thank God for my sponsor. I thank God that I found a good sponsor that works for me, that don't judge me, don't talk about me, understand who I am, and who got to know me. I'm grateful for that. So, you know, drugs pushed us real hard, and we had to learn how to push back. So I thank y'all so very much. And I know I'm on step 11 for next. I know I'm on step 11 for next. Oh, yeah. I know I'm on the step 11. Hey, this is an awesome step. I say this all the time about this step. It says, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. Now, this is a deep step. Y'all kind of study it before I come on and you see if you agree with me. This is a good step. You know, I thank y'all. If ain't nobody never told you that they love you, tell them that Renee Williams says she love you. Thank each and every last one of you, Wanda, Linda, Michelle, and Miss Johnson, and Cousin Pam. And for the million other ones or the many other ones that come on after I get off, I thank you. You'll never lose with me because I'm going to tell you the truth and I'm going to break it down to you. And some of y'all might not want to hear it, but if you think I'm lying, just try it or analyze what I say or figure it out how I'm doing it, then you'll understand. Everybody work their own program. You know, but I can tell you what I got out of the program and what I'm still getting out of the program and what I love about the program of the 12 Steps Narcotics Anonymous program. It works for everybody if you work it. God bless you. I'm going to go out with God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference today. That's our motto, that right there. And if you read that every day, then you really get an understanding of what it means. Then you will start working it and understand this is why they made that. Because, you know, we can't change nobody. But if we can change some things about ourselves, then we do that. You know, I love this serenity prayer. Thank you all so very much. I see y'all Sunday. On Sunday at 2 o'clock. Let me tell y'all something. Have a safe and wonderful 4th of July. Stay safe. I'm cooking. I know y'all cooking. Stay very safe and know that God is your partner, your answer, your friend. And don't let nobody tell you any different. Thank each and every last one of you who have changed your life and stayed clean and got some years up under your belt or just got just for today. I thank God for that too. because we did find a purpose in our lives when we came into the program, and that was we wanted to live and live differently. I love you. God bless you. I'll see you on Sunday, and I keep y'all in prayer, and have a safe 4th of July. Good night.